Hello, and welcome back to Walkman Phones. We finally got another Panasonic Eluga in the house. It took a while to get here. It was coming from Poland, I believe. They're very hard to find nowadays. They were hard to find when they were new, as I've said before. And well, I had a hard time tracking this one down as a replacement for the one that just up and died. But I wanted to show everybody, this is taking a look back to maybe, early 2012. A very beautiful phone that was designed. It was meant to be a global phone, and Panasonic just kind of gave up on rolling it out. I believe it only rolled out to Italy and Germany. So it didn't even make it to the UK. They shelved it. They decided that it wasn't worth their time, and now they only make phones exclusively for Japan. So this is their one attempt to try to make something for the global market, and it did not go well in their eyes. So they killed it off pretty early. Just to kind of walk around the phone a little bit, it's a waterproof phone. You see it's got the ports up top. This one is the charging port, and the other one is for your SIM card. There's a 3.5 millimeter headphone jack at the top that does not need a flap and it's still waterproof. Let's see, along the back you have your, I want to say this is like an 8 megapixel camera. That wasn't the focus. There's not even a flash on it, although it does have NFC, interesting enough. And then Panasonic was one of the first, I believe, to try to do something different with the buttons. As you can see, they're placed on the back, but along the tapered side, the curve. So you've got your power button and your volume rocker right there that ride along this kind of curve. It's a very different kind of design, very, very futuristic looking. And we go around the front. It's a 4.3 inch screen. Pretty basic. It's QHD screen, but that's little q. So we're talking, it's not a 720p. It's a notch under that. Basically, let's see. We'll turn it on for a little bit. Sorry about the lighting. My setup is very bootleg, but I'm trying here. Okay. It's got capacitive buttons that light up. Just kind of, touch. You got your back button, your multitasking, and your home button. You see, we're running on AT&T. I have it, my SIM card in it. The interesting thing about this phone is it's pretty much stopped its updates, and the last update I believe it got was ice cream sandwich. So yeah, this is way behind the times. It's running I think a TI OMAP processor. I think the 4430, which is what the original Droid Razor was running, and it was pretty much outdated as soon as it was released. It's not a very powerful phone, but like I said here, we're focusing on phones that look cool and have an interesting design language to them. And this is overall, I'd say, probably one of my favorite phones ever, just because of the design. It's super lightweight. It's like, I want to say it's like 110 grams. It weighs next to nothing. Waterproof. It's pretty much all screen. You're holding, it's a smaller screen, but it's not overly, big in the build. A lot of phones back then decided that, we're going to have these big bezels, and, the top chin and the bottom chin is going to be really big. Panasonic didn't do that. The people that designed this really had an eye for, something different, that was out. Let's see, what else? yeah, so like I said, I have my SIM card in this. We're gonna, just for old time's sake, because I'm gonna run this, for a little bit. I know there's been a lot of people that have been going back to flip phones, challenging themselves to go back to flip phones, and I'm not gonna do all that. Just about as far back as I'll go, because as you can see, let me show you something. Turn the Wi-Fi off. All right. Okay, let's see if it'll jump on there. See, I just recently put the SIM card in. It says it's on AT&T, so there's that. But when that pops up, this phone only runs on Edge, which is 2G, which is awful. Even when I had the phone, back when, it was really, really rough to walk around with a phone that was only on 2G. If you were overseas, it ran on 3G. There's no LTE on this phone. It wasn't one of those phones. But yeah, I mean, it was always really frustrating running with this phone because you had this beautiful phone, this really, really nice design, really, really sleek and futuristic. And I apologize for the dent in the side. It looks like the guy that had it before me didn't really take good care of it. I mean, it's okay, but he obviously knocked it around a little bit. But yeah, boy, the struggle that people used to go through with the 2G phones, we've come a long way since then. So this is really, I'd say it's almost at a flip phone level in terms of its connectivity. You can't run a whole lot of apps on it anymore because it's stopped at Ice Cream Sandwich, and the apps that you can run are limited to Edge, and that's really rough. But like I said, it's not really what this phone's about. This phone is, in my mind, one of the better looking, pieces of art, in my opinion, that came out of the Android world. And this was, you have to remember, this was early 2012 when this launched. So personally, I think this was really ahead of its time, minus the fact that it didn't have a flash, but, what are you going to do? Being waterproof, a lot of the phones now are trying to push that way, the Samsung Galaxies and, phones of that nature that are really trying to step it up and say, well, we're waterproof. And Panasonic was doing that a long time ago. Let's see, we jump into the app drawer. It's basic. The software that they run, I mean, there's a little bit of a skin. They call it, I believe they call it Fit Home, but it's basically stock Android. It's got a couple little tweaks here and there, but it's pretty basic. Let's see. We go in, we got the old YouTube logo, which is funny because I don't think it is gonna update anymore. Personally, I think that's over. We got the camera. Let's see, it tells you please wait. Let's see. And here, I'll show you something interesting. This is always what I like to show people when I show off this phone ever, because it always gets a reaction. That's the thing about this phone. It's always very well received until you start saying, oh, it only runs on Edge and it only, it's an older phone, but people are always amazed that, wow, Panasonic really did something back then that was different and really interesting. And cell phone design now, it's cool still. They do a lot of nice things, but it's becoming harder and harder to find people that are pushing boundaries and trying to take the game forward, I'd say. And this phone definitely did that. All right, just to show you guys how much of a non-American phone this is. This is pretty good stuff. Let me turn this on at the beginning as the starting system. Okay. And we got Panasonic splash screen and booting up. The Eluga branding, and then it starts flashing German at you. And I believe it's telling you, roughly translated, I believe it's saying, make sure that these ports are closed or your phone will not be waterproof, I think. But I'm not sure. I always just thought that was funny. That's how it boots up. So anyways, yeah. That's that. You know, we've got, let's see. There's some cool things that it does. You know, there's this, but like I said, it's super limited, and it's one of those phones that you know it's more of a showpiece for me. Like I said, I was just really disappointed that I had the phone that wouldn't turn on anymore. You know, a lot of time I'm not running the phone obviously as a daily driver. Really, that'd be a little too much to handle. But at the same time, I'd like to turn it on from time to time and play with it. It's fun to play with. Here, I'll show you that they came in two colors when they came out. It was the black, which is like a matte black, kind of like a, just a basic kind of plastic, and then here's the other one that died. I'll show you the look of that one. This was the silver Eluga, which personally I liked better. And it seemed like every time I found an Eluga online, it was the silver model. So it's different that I have the black one now. This is kind of interesting, but yeah, very interesting. They put the IMEI. I don't mind showing you guys this because this phone is dead. But yeah, it's like a little sticker that they put on, right there. And on this one, what they did, this guy put it on, but in the box, they give you a plastic piece to stick on to hide your IMEI number. So really interesting take on that, I think. And yeah, like I said, this is the Panasonic Eluga dL1. This was their one and only attempt at making a phone that they wanted to roll out globally. This is back when everybody was really trying to jump into the smartphone game, and manufacturers that you wouldn't think of, were trying it out because it was such a popular platform, and it was kind of taking things over. And yeah, they decided really early on we're just going to stick to Japan here. So it's just a little slice of history here, and I just wanted to show it off. You see it's got its LED up there. There's your speaker, which is off center, which is another little design flourish that I always kind of liked. The sound comes out of here as your speaker, so it's got a front-facing speaker, but only the one. It's a pretty quiet phone. There's not too much power behind it, but like I said, I love this phone, and I think it's really pretty, and I'm glad to have another one, even if it's just for show for the most part. So yeah, that's about it, and thank you for watching. We have more stuff to come. I'm waiting still for the Sony Xperia XA to show up. Launch day's in a couple days, so that should be here by next week at some point, and we'll take a look at that. So until then, talk to you next time. Bye.